Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Remko Rinkema, and today I am joined by Maria Konnikova to dive into some old school poker action, some of the coolest old school action, if I may say so myself. From the legendary movie Rounders, the moment between Johnny Chan and Erik Seidel is something that any poker fan will never forget. And that being said, Maria has a lot more context to that story, or at least to the person involved in that hand, sadly, on the losing end, Erik Seidel, who was a big help in the writing of your book, The Biggest Bluff. Maria, we'll talk about all of that and much more today on the show. But first, I want to know, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderfully, Remko. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to watch this footage. I have never seen the 1988 main event final table. The only hand I've ever seen is the one in Rounders.
I mean, this episode is special for many reasons. One of them being that I'm really enjoying your book. I'm in the middle of it. I won't pretend like those people on TV that have read the whole book and they haven't yet. Which I
appreciate it.
They have a few post-its inside of the paragraphs that their directors told them to read to just sound smart on TV. So yeah, I am about 3/4 of the way in, and I think it's fascinating. Lots to say about the book. We'll get to all of that. First, let me welcome everyone to the show. We're live on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Keep your questions coming for Maria, or if you have questions for me, please feel free to send them in as well. We'll be live for about 2 hours. We have a lot of stuff to uncover, a lot of stuff to watch. Most importantly, the 1988 WSOP main event. Yes, for the first time ever, we're going to show that footage, and we're going to share that with you guys here on the stream. We're going to listen in to a lot of that broadcast as well, because it's just a unique experience to watch something from that long ago. And I even have a special surprise for you, Maria. That's going to be in the middle of the show. But we are starting out with some footage of Phil Ivey playing on High Stakes Poker Season 6. And the reason for that is we have so much to discuss prior to really diving into that 88 final table, that we might as well run some of the most iconic footage of High Stakes Poker, which of course is the episode with Phil Ivey, Mr. Jason Mercer, who gives all his money away, Mr. Tom Dwan, who tries to give all his money away and somehow doesn't. A lot of stuff going on. So you guys in the chat, keep those questions coming. Maria and I, we're going to be diving really deep into a whole bunch of topics, and we're watching some really, really old school footage later in the show today. But first, some High Stakes Poker. You guys just enjoy the content and stay with us here on Twitch, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channels, and tell all your friends about it, because we'll be live for quite some time. Maria, my first question. How sharp is your poker game these days?
Well, these days with COVID, it's actually really tough because I trained as a live player, even though I started out online because Erik made me. There'll be a lot of Erik made me do this throughout the evening, because Erik Seidel was my coach, mentor, kind of guide throughout this process. And I think what he said about online poker is incredibly true, which is that you simply cannot get the experience and volume playing live that you can get online. And so every single day when I just started out, I would go across the river to New Jersey, where it's legal to play online and play online poker. That said, once I went live, I never looked back. I like it so much more. It's me. I'm a psychologist. I'm all about people. Like, it's amazing. It's a different game to me. I love it. And so the last year has been tough because no live poker for the most part. And for me, zero live poker.
Wow.
And that has obviously made me a little less sharp. But what I do want to say is that I have played online a little. Because you can play friendly cash games no matter where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I even spent some time in New Jersey. So I actually played the World Series online from New Jersey this summer, and have relocated a few times to be able to do that. So I would say I'm not nearly as sharp as I was when I was flying to LAPC, which was going to be my last stop, and COVID hit, and so I never ended up playing. So I'm not there, but I haven't altogether gotten completely rusty. And I've been reading and watching and studying, and I am so excited to get back to the live felt when big tournaments are again a thing. I'm not going to Florida at the end of April because it's right in the middle is my birthday, and that's not how I want to spend my birthday, but I'm excited to get to Vegas and to start playing. I miss it.
Wow, that's amazing. That's the first thing that I was curious about, because having been in the game for as long as I have, and in Erik Seidel terms, that's still not very long, but for me, 2005 is when I discovered the game. My passion for the game has never gone away, even though plenty of other interests have come and gone during that period of time. And poker has just always been sort of a stable factor in my life. And I was very curious for you, as someone who basically climbed the steepest learning curve possible to get to a respectable level to compete, at very reasonable stakes, how long that passion would last, and whether you eventually would get tired of the game, or at least maybe lose the touch of wanting to be inquisitive in the way that you need to be in order to be successful in this game. So you're basically saying that, in a way, that fire still burns very strongly.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I am still studying. I'm still, multiple times a week watching videos, taking notes, trying to make sure that I stay sharp. It's unfortunate that we haven't had live footage over the last year, because it's really wonderful to me. I mean, one of the ways I learn best is learning from the best, right? That's the way I learned. And I think that's the phenomenal, I was so lucky to get the phenomenal access that I had. And I think that really accelerated my learning curve. And one of the most wonderful things is watching these incredible players and seeing, what are they doing right now? How are they thinking? How are they using their solvers? What are the types of plays that they're making? And for the last year, we haven't had that. And so it's almost like, in my mind, the evolution of poker has stopped in March of last year. And so I'm excited to see what everyone's been doing. I still think back to that hand, I think it was Stevie, who shoved for all but one chip in that big high stakes poker event, and with a bluff, and then ended up folding and keeping that one chip. And I still remember that move and saying, oh, that's a thing now. that's exciting.
Yeah, the game has evolved so much, and year to year these days feels more like 5 years to 5 years back when I was first getting into it. And clearly I've never played at a very high level, but at least I can sort of think along and ask the right questions in spots with these very bright minds. But for you, that must have been so much more intimidating, because you started from literally zero. Like, I did not get to interview Phil Ivey for the very first time on day one of me being in poker. Like, I was reading Harrington on Hold'em and Sklansky for Advanced Players, making notes in the book about, oh, I'm allowed to check raise? That's great. So that's where I started. And before I even set foot in the room as a member of the media, we were 6-7 years down the line. What was it like to immediately, with your most basic questions, talk to people who were already playing at a very high level?
I didn't appreciate at the beginning just how intimidated I should have been, because I had no idea who these people were. In retrospect, it's pretty insane. I mean, right, the first time I met Erik, I knew who he was because I'd tracked him down and decided, this is the person I want to teach me. By the way, I keep looking at this high stakes game. Everyone is so damn young.
I know.
This is insane. I mean, look at Jason. Look at that face. It's like a baby face.
Jason Mercer, and I know him very well, so I can say this, has a bit of Florida, like weed dealer all over him, with the backwards hat and the faux sunglasses and the Ed Hardy shirt. And I'd say that to his face as well, so I think it's just funny. But yes, we are already in a time capsule watching season 6 of High Stakes Poker. And, Daniel's hair looks better now. I mean, Elia Lesra lost...
It does. Daniel's hair looks a lot better now, and so does Gus's.
Yes, and Elia Lesra lost about 60 pounds since the taping of this show. He looks super healthy. Dwan still looks exactly the same, by the way. It's really
He
funny.
does, yes. That's the one person who hasn't changed. But anyway, I wasn't trying to evade your answer.
No, you're good.
So then Erik started introducing me to his buddies. He's like, oh, I'm not the best person for this. You should talk to this person. You should talk to that person. And I would. And I was completely not intimidated. And we just have these wonderful conversations. And in retrospect, I was thinking, wait, who was I talking to? This is insane. These are legends of the game. I mean, very early on, I'd Red Harrington on Hold'em, and Eric's like, okay, I'll hook you up with Dan. You can spend a day with Dan and he'll talk you through it. And that was just amazing. Dan has so many great stories, a lot of which did not make it into the book because they were completely irrelevant. But talk about someone who knows poker from back in the day. And then I started meeting kind of the people who were at the top of the game, the Ike Haxtons and Jason Coons, and Phil Galfond became kind of my second mentor and coach. And the fact that they all just accepted me and shared their wisdom, it was all because of Erik, because they all love and trust Erik. And he was like, okay, talk to this girl. I didn't realize until much later that they don't have time to talk to someone who has no idea what she's doing. These are guys who are very, very serious about what they do. And it's a gift. And they're all absolutely incredible people.
For the people who are just joining in today, I'm doing Run It Back. We're watching old school poker footage. We're going to watch the 1988 WSP main event later after this high stakes poker episode. By the way, all the footage on Run It Back is always available on PokerGO. So if you're tired of us talking, which in some cases I can understand, maybe not today, but you can watch all that stuff on PokerGO without us talking. So if that's what you're into, go check out PokerGO right now. Promo code HSP is still valid for $20 off the annual sub, so go check that out. We also have a really cool merch store. You can see that in the screen right now, pokergoshop.com. Use my name, REMKO, for 10% off the total purchase in the shop. Maria, however, you say, a total newbie talking to these guys, you felt as though maybe not worthy of their time, given how successful these people had already been and the level that they play at. However, for some context and people that are new to you and haven't read the book, your background, however, is very fascinating. You have a PhD in psychology from Columbia University. You're not just someone off the street, as I'd like to say. And then you've gone on to write the book, The Biggest Bluff. Everyone who is watching needs to check that out. Go put it in Google, The Biggest Bluff. You'll find a way to purchase that wherever you are in the world. So there must have also been a bit of mutual interest given your background from these players, because psychology is one of the most important things in poker. I mean, Erik said it in your book, the math that poker requires, it doesn't go far beyond counting on your fingers, which, totally, I do that as well under the table to see how many outs I still have. So was there a mutual interest from these players in your psychology background?
I'd like to think so. For some of them, it was explicit. Like, I definitely had conversations with Phil Galfond. I have to specify which Phil. There are lots of Phils in poker, and he was definitely interested in a lot of the psychology. And I think for others, it was just more this love of the game and passion for it and desire to give back to not just to the poker community, but to the general public. Because I think that for some of them, what was attractive about me wasn't necessarily the fact that I knew the psychology. It was more that I wrote for a general audience, and they thought, oh, this is an opportunity for poker to get more attention. And I think that was honestly one of the reasons why Erik agreed to take me on as a student, because I wasn't just another poker player saying, hey, want to help me increase my ROI? And instead I said, I really want to learn, and I want to learn about the decision making. And I think for a lot of these guys, their motives really are pure, in the sense of loving the game, being passionate about it, and just wanting people to understand what it really is. Because there's such a popular misconception, that poker is gambling, and it's bad and it's evil. And there's so much that's completely wrong.
Right. So in line with you now having that maybe new perception of the game and about how everything was wrong, were there also eye-opening moments for you along the way about how you perceive the game?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, at the beginning, I've been very open about this, so I will share it one more time. I didn't know how many cards were in a deck. So talk about misperceptions about the game. I thought there were 54. The day that there are 54 cards in the deck is the day I will dominate all of you, because I've calculated those odds and you haven't.
Those two jokers would be really helpful.
They will be. They will be. But I really started from nothing. And so my idea of poker was really, it came from rounders and it came from just popular culture. I didn't know what to expect. And so yeah, I think that the experience really changed how I saw it in a lot of ways. It was much more complex and exciting than I ever thought it could be. I mean, if it had been what I thought it was, I think I would have written my book and that would have been that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still interested in the game. And I think that's because I feel like it still has a lot to teach me because the complexity is much greater than anything I could have imagined. And I think the other part of it that I was really surprised by was some of the smartest and just most brilliant people that I've met anywhere, and I've met a lot of really smart people, have been in the poker world. I mean, if you look at kind of the top of the poker world, these are people who could do anything.
Mm-hmm.
They are just brilliant and they're really good people. And to me, I was not expecting that. You know, I was not expecting to meet these kind, good, brilliant human beings. And so much of what you hear is the misogyny and kind of the negative aspects, and they exist and I've experienced them. I'm not trying to say that that doesn't exist, but there's also this entire other side, and I want people to see that and to appreciate it.
Absolutely. I think that it is great the way you have been highlighting that, and how you're now saying it again reinforces it to a lot of people as well. And there were so many interesting nuggets in your book that I want to bring up and sort of find ties to, because they make the whole journey so much more interesting when you know all those things. So if you're watching this and you haven't read the book will become even more interesting now after listening to us talk here. I'm going to take a few quick questions from the chat because we got some questions coming in. Let's go through this real quick. People asking about high stakes poker. There was no rake during high stakes poker. Players were getting paid by the sponsors that they had. I believe it was $1,200 an hour to play on high stakes poker per player. And I believe a taping session was 4 to 6 hours that they cut down into episodes. And one season was 3 taping sessions, and that turned into 13 episodes, and it did it for 7 seasons, and then we brought it back. Season 8 is now available on PokerGO. We had Tom Dwan, Phil Ivey, Rick Solomon, and a whole bunch of other crazy characters in the mix. That is all available the whole season. You can watch it now on demand, and we are going to tape season 9 this summer, probably June and July somewhere, so that should be coming out soon. So you guys, please stay tuned for more of that. Lots of love for the book, Maria. We're not going to do any shout outs because that would make the show way too long, but I see a lot of love for the book, and I'm sure you appreciate that. People asking if you're still playing. We tackled it earlier in the show. For the people that are wondering, can I watch this show later on? Yes, go to Facebook or YouTube to watch it all on demand if you can't watch the whole show right now. I see a few tired people in the chat on Twitch. Don't worry. It's going to be available forever. Questions from Verboten on Twitch. He says, Maria, did you find you were able to think on these pros levels? And the next question associated is, were they good teachers?
They were incredible teachers. Was I able to think on their level? No, I still can't. Are you kidding? I mean, that would be such hubris on my part. I am not anywhere near their level. That's why they're amazing teachers. Someone like Erik, it's funny, and I don't actually remember if I say this in the book at all, but he was one of the reasons he hesitated taking me on is he said, I don't know, I don't think I'm a good teacher. I don't teach. That's not what I do. And he's an incredible teacher, but you also need to know how to learn from him because you need to just get into his wavelength. It's not necessarily like sitting in a classroom and having an instructor write out, okay, you have pocket twos and you're in the big blind and there's been a 3-bet and what are you going to do? Well, if you're Paul McGrill, no, we won't get into that. But that's not what you get from Erik.
Do you know why?
X, yes. And I got to meet X.
Oh.
I did. And that is later in the book. Unfortunately, I wish I'd met him earlier in his life. He was Erik's teacher.
Yeah.
One of Erik's teachers. Dan and X were his 2 teachers. 2 incredible men and incredible poker players, and just incredible influences. And unfortunately, by the time I met X, we didn't know that he'd be dead in less than a year.
Right.
And his health was on the decline. So it was sad to see.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah,
X22, we all always had a lot of fun when he was playing in tournaments. Such a character.
Absolutely, such a character. Had so much fun. Loved the game.
Yeah, and probably intelligent beyond my comprehension. Like,
oh, brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. But yeah, everyone who I ended up working with was a really good teacher. Now, someone who's just a brilliant teacher, period, anyone can learn from him, is Phil Galfond. So huge shout out to Phil, who also spent way too many hours with me over the course of many years, and then fruitlessly tried to get me to switch to PLO.
Oh boy.
But he is just the best. I mean, he is just born to teach.
Yeah, it's very funny. Sorry to interrupt. Very funny you say that. The difference between, and I'm going to speak from experience myself now, the difference between Phil Galfond and Patrick Antonius is literally night and day. Patrick Antonius and Phil Galfond are both brilliant minds. They're both brilliant poker players. They're both also really friendly people. But I watched some Patrick Antonius training videos, and he has such a hard time, at least in the ones that I watched. And this is a long time ago when Poker News used to try to do their own training site. Such a hard time really explaining why he was doing things. And that to me was so fascinating because it relates directly to your book, where you're basically trying to ask Erik or anyone who's willing to help, I have Jack 10 offsuit, what do I do? And that is basically what I see a lot as well. When I have guests on the show and I say, send in your questions, the majority of questions are, I have King Jack offsuit in the cutoff, what do I do? Like,
fold.
No, but the funny thing about that is the art of conceptual thinking in poker and the art of decision making. That is what makes the game so brilliant. It is not about chess where, where does my horse go? No, it's about understanding how to think. It's not understanding how to play. It's such a different sort of mind game. How long did it take you to sort of accept that? Because that to me and to many players is so hard to understand, because you just want an answer. That's what you're looking for.
Oh, it took me a long time because I kept wanting to just take Erik and shake him and say, no, just tell me what to do. And I'm so grateful that he never did, because he taught me to think. He taught me to figure this out for myself, which is the greatest gift he could have possibly given me. And he also said something really important, which is, I can't tell you what to do here because I'm not you. When you're playing poker, you're a human, and people are looking at you and they see what you look like and they see who you are. And people don't play against Erik Seidel the way they play against me. They don't, and they shouldn't. They absolutely shouldn't. And so, what he said was, even if I tell you what to do, it's what I would do, and that's the wrong answer for you. What I can do is give you kind of the skills and the tools to think through this for your own. It's so frustrating, especially when you're just a beginner learning how to do this, for someone to say that, because you just want an answer. You don't want these big philosophical concepts. But he was right. And he did not succumb to my entreaties to just tell me how to play Jack 10 offsuit. By the way, I butchered Jack 10 offsuit many times, and I did not play it correctly, but because I was not thinking about it correctly. Right. I was just watching what Erik did and was like, oh, you played Jack 10, so I can do that too. No, that's not how it works.
Right.
Now, Phil has a very similar approach. He will ask you to think everything through, but if you put a gun to his head, he will tell you what to do in that position. So he is willing to tell you how he would play Jack 10 offsuit, but right. He's Phil. And again, people don't play the same way against me the way that they play against him. It took me a long time. And you know what? To this day, it's still hard to internalize that. Sometimes you just want an answer. I think that's why people love solvers so much, because it seems like they have an answer. They've got the answer. The solver tells them how to play Jack 10 offsuit, except it doesn't. Right? Except that's actually a false sense of confidence.
Exactly. And to the people in the chat who think that my chess knowledge goes to how the horse moves, that it's actually not true. I actually have been getting into chess a lot since the Queen's Gambit. I love chess, but the biggest difference between chess and poker is that when you're playing chess, you can analyze your play by play, and it gives you an exact calculation of how good or how bad and everything in between your move was. And in poker, the outcome and the range of decisions is so much wider, and there are so many more moves that are defensible versus the moves that you can make in chess, because also in chess there's various options, but there's definitely always a correct answer in most cases, which in poker, of course, with the solver era getting underway, that is much more the case. But still, when you are playing at a live table, as we see Phil Locke enter the scene with a whole bunch of cash.
I love that entrance. Oh boy.
It's beautiful. In poker, you can study the solvers all you want, but when you're in the moment making a decision at a poker table, you can't run a solver. You can try to memorize certain situations, and you can use, tools to help you calculate what you should be doing and what's optimal, but it's not nearly as precise as it is in chess, which is a huge difference, which is why the focus is a lot more on having the correct thought process versus knowing what the move is, because there's just too many things to think about. All right, we got a lot more things coming into the chat. I appreciate you guys all. Please let me know where you're watching from, by the way. I always love hearing if we have an international crowd today on Run It Back, live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Lots of our regulars watching, as always. I appreciate you guys all and girls all being with us in the chat. I'm joined by Maria Konnikova, in case you're just tuning in. We are watching High Stakes Poker right now, but the main event, the big course today, is going to be the 1988 WSB main event, with, of course, the iconic footage of Erik Seidel and Johnny Chan going heads up. And that, of course, was in rounders, which is what everybody, which spurred a lot of people that are watching this right now to get into the game of poker. Verboten, the same guy who asked the question about the teachers, he just said, I have a signed McGrill backgammon book, and I love it. That is incredible. Cherish that. Keep it forever. That is really cool. Lots more questions coming in. We'll get to some of those in just a little bit. What I'm curious in, Maria, as well, is were you a poker fan prior to getting into this journey? And if so, or if not, did you watch a lot of poker as well, like High Stakes Poker, like Poker After Dark, or WSOP footage?
No. I had never seen a poker tournament in my life. The only game of poker I had ever seen was in rounders.
Wow.
Literally. The only poker footage I had was Matt Damon and Teddy KGB, John Malkovich duking it out. That's it. And obviously, you've got the Borgata footage there. There's a lot going on there. You've got the Mirage, you've got Borgata, you've got Erik and Johnny Chan. I mean, I got a good poker education from rounders, but it came from rounders. And I was not a poker fan. I didn't play any games. I didn't grow up in a household where what we did was play games. I read, that's what I did to pass the time. One of the reasons I thought there were 54 cards in a deck was we did not have a deck of cards in our house, literally. I'd never really played with them and didn't really know what to expect. And somehow that number just got lodged in my head. And so this was just it was just being inundated with everything. I've obviously become not just a huge poker fan, but a huge proponent and evangelist for the game. And I think that it should be taught in schools. I think it's just the most brilliant teaching tool in the world. I'm a huge proponent, and don't see that changing at any point. But I got into it really knowing nothing, and it was so funny to me to just discover what there was. All of these games, we're watching High Stakes Poker. I didn't know that existed. I didn't know Poker After Dark existed. I didn't grow up watching that. It was all newly discovered to me. When the way I found Erik to coach me was not like some systematic, Erik is really the person I need. It was a Google search. I was like, best poker players in the world. Let's look at some YouTube videos. Best poker hands. Literally, that's what I did. And it's so funny to me thinking back to that moment. I found lots of Phil Hellmuth meltdowns, and that's really big on YouTube. So I saw a lot of those, but that was my first real immersion into any sort of poker content, was trying to find out who do I want to approach to coach me.
Wow. Speaking of meltdowns, one happening right here on the screen, Jason Mercer just putting it all in with the ace-4 suited, backdoor flush draw, wheel draw. Maybe the solvers will be happier about this play than he was back when he made this about 10 years ago. Phil Ivey with the pocket nines. Pay close attention to Phil Ivey's facial expressions. He is not happy with the moment. Let's just listen in for this audio because it's just brilliant.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's go back.
Very convincing.
Just listen to Ivy and look at his face. It's one of my favorite Ivy face sort of / frustration moves. You guys at home, if you know what I'm about to show you, you'll enjoy this for the thousandth of time because I've watched this so many times.
Glance at Jason. As I said, the story is very convincing. It really looks like Jason, who's played kind of snug. Phil Ivey just said, all right.
Guess you got me here. Already
Phil Ivey said, all right, if you got the overpair, you got me.
Yeah,
and he calls.
Once or twice.
What a call by Phil Ivey.
Maybe so.
One time.
Want to run twice or once?
I don't want to do it once.
I could answer that question, Jason. One time. You're going to have to catch your 5 of your ace.
Amazing.
Great play by Jason. Great call by Phil Ivey.
I'm starting to not feel so bad about putting me 200,000 in with my 2 queens. I'm starting not to feel so bad. I mean, I see the king 10 and the king 3.
Ah, man. Nice hand.
Welcome to the Ivy world, Jason.
And that was that for Jason Mercer, never to be seen again on High Stakes Poker. Of course, his star was rising really steeply back when this happened. For some context, for those who have never seen it before, this was just after Mercer won EPT San Remo and had a bunch of success on the live tournament scene. He introduced himself to people at the table as he sat down. Eliel Ezra had never heard of him. He later became a regular in Bobby's room and suffered one of the worst bad beats in poker history. It wasn't even a bad beat. Running kings into aces of Antonio Esfandiari during the 2012 big 1-for-1 drop, which ultimately led to Antonio winning 1 drop. If Jason is on the other side of that hand, he wins 1 drop because that was probably with, I think, 2 or 3 tables left for all the chips in play. They were, I think, first and second or second and third in chips. So just a little bit of poker history there for you guys. Yeah, Jason leaves immediately. Ivy rakes in the chips. Just overall iconic moment on High Stakes Poker. For those who are asking, when is the next season coming? Season 9 is coming this summer. We're taping more episodes. High Stakes Duel, by the way, May 5th. Phil Hellmuth against Daniel Negreanu, round 2. $200K match between the two biggest rivals in the game, if I say so myself. That's one of my favorite things to look forward to in the near future. May 5th. Pencil it in your calendars. Don't miss that. It's going to be pretty incredible. Maria, when you watch stuff like this, do you get even more of an itch to play?
Oh, absolutely. It's so exciting. It's so much fun to watch and to see these reactions. And by the way, Jason, just absolutely fearless. Amazing. He's playing against Phil Ivey. Phil Ivey reads souls. And Jason's like, yeah, you know what? I read souls too. And here you go. And it's just, it's amazing to see. And yeah, absolutely. I watch this and I say, get me a ticket to Vegas. Let's go. COVID, screw you. Let's go play.
Oh, man, I can't wait. I think poker is going to be crazier than ever before once everything, vaccines and health and safety and all that good stuff is all figured out, because everyone, myself included, is chomping at the bit to set some money on fire. Oh,
for sure. For sure. Please, Phil Ivey, take my money.
Exactly. It's going to be Poker Boom-esque, the amount of interest there will be for live poker once it's all possible again. Hopefully WSP in the fall. Lots of big events happening prior to that, and it's going to be really exciting to see, you know, who's gonna show up for those events and how big they're going to get. Go ahead.
Are we ever going to bring back cash on the table?
Oh.
It just looks so much more impressive. Just look at this. Watching it, you're like, holy shit.
As the famous philosopher Philip D. Ivey once said, the cash just looks so sweet.
It does.
It's unfortunately no longer allowed by the Nevada Gaming Boards to have cash on the table. Not even for a TV show like High Stakes Poker. By the way, this is real cash on the table as we're watching High Stakes Poker. But it's definitely sad because the cash definitely makes it a lot more impressive. A stack of cranberry chips doesn't hurt the same way as handing over the cash. Or seeing the cash disappear off the table in case you didn't win it. Maria, back to your poker journey. You describe in the book very well how you would go to New Jersey, sit in a coffee shop, overdose on caffeine, play Jack 10 offsuit, and try to figure out you know what the right thought process is. In the book, it's sometimes a little bit hard to say how long this all took, how many reps you needed, how many conversations you had. But try to describe to us what that sort of on-ramp was like from basically not understanding Jack 10 offsuit to feeling as though you could hold your own in a live tournament.
I mean, it took some time. And in terms of the amount of time, I mean, I would go to New Jersey, 4 or 5 days a week and play all day.
Wow.
And just, get the hands in, because that's what Erik told me I needed to do, get the hands in. And so I did. And I would lose and lose and lose. And he didn't let me go to Vegas and start playing live until I was actually net positive and had built a bankroll online. And so that took a little bit of time because I wasn't playing cash. That's the other thing that I think we should make sure to tell people is that I started out playing tournaments. Erik had said, you have a limited amount of time. You need to focus because it's a different game. Cash and tournaments are quite different. And you need to figure out what you're going to do. And together we decided that I was going to be a tournament player. And that hurts more because cash, you can be a little more risk averse, which is how I started. I think most poker players, hardly anyone starts out taking the right amount of risk. Most people are either too risk seeking or too risk averse. And I think most people are probably too risk seeking. They've watched a little bit too much of Tom Dwan getting it in with 9 high on high stakes poker. And they say, oh yeah, I can do that too.
By the way, not to interrupt you, but this is arguably the most exciting river situation in the history of high stakes poker. So let's put a pin in this conversation and watch this river hand play out. I don't even have to tee this one up. If you have not seen this hand yet, you've been living under a rock the size of this planet. So I'm going to turn up the volume and let's just enjoy high level poker for what it is.
Misses the flush, misses the straight. There's $408,700 out there. It's not like Tom Dwan to give up. This is the first time all season that the table's been completely quiet. Even Phil Lock and Antonio are quiet. He is loading the gun. He fires. 268,200.
How much is that and how much do you have left?
About 280 left.
As Tom Dwan shits his pants on national TV.
Dwan's voice was a little shaky there. He did not want to hear any inquiries from Phil Ivey.
Imagine the situation being stared at by Phil Ivey.
I don't want to.
No.
Can't expect Phil Lock to be quiet forever.
I'm nervous and I'm not even in the hand.
I know.
68.
You can see that Phil Ivey is not showboating. He is seriously contemplating a call here with a pair of sixes.
While Ellie is falling asleep.
He is.
Wow. Wait till you see how long. Wait till I see what I have that I'm taking this long. I'm not gonna,
I think
you're
I
not
know
gonna
what it
believe
is.
this one. No, you don't.
Yeah, I think I do.
This is gonna be the sickest call of all time.
Not the words Tom Dwan wants to
I know.
Juan really looks nervous. What Phil Ivey's trying to decide is he really nervous or is he acting nervous? The truth is, he is really nervous.
There's nothing like Phil Ivey's facial expressions.
It's incredible.
Phil Ivey, we love you.
And try to appreciate, if you're watching this at home, the thoughts you have when you're playing in a game of poker and you're faced with a tough decision. I don't want to speak for anyone else, but at some point during your thought process, you go towards this instinct of like, does he have it? Does he not? Does he have it? Does he not? Does he have it? Does he not? You sort of think yourself into circles because it's so hard to stay on task the whole time. Think about how brilliant Phil Ivey is, how many more thoughts per second he's firing in general, and then him taking basically 10 minutes to decide on this hand, and all the things that he is considering, all the moments he's remembering, all the hands he's played against Tom Dwan, and then for him to say, this might be the sickest call of all time, it's just so much extra things to consider for us, the viewers, that this is why a moment like this is worth rewatching over and over again, because it is so mind-blowing to try to put yourself in Phil Ivey's shoes in a moment like this.
Okay, let's think about this a little bit.
After 10 minutes, he says, let's think about this a little bit.
Tom Dwan is starting to gulp now. The excitement is
Ellie is
overwhelming
gone.
to Ellie.
Ellie's gone.
Sorry.
He only does for a minute. It
Ellie
feels like
fell
he's
asleep.
sleeping.
This is not, I don't usually
Take
take
all
this
the
long.
No, I don't.
Take
No
it
one
down.
cares, Ivy. You can take till the.
It's 500,000 in the pot. You want us to tell you anything? 500 in the middle. Four something.
Go back to sleep, kid.
Let's go back to bed.
Dwan
I
looks
love that
worse.
Ellie has commentary.
Yeah.
Can't be nothing. Except for that.
Can't be nothing except what Tom Dwan has.
Okay.
Oh, that one hurt.
God,
I think he's
eyes
bluffing.
hurt so.
I really
give
think he's
him
bluffing.
5,000 if you
Staring
can't
at
show
a
your ace
card.
high or better. Give him a free roll for 1,000 on ace high or better if he can't.
I really think he's
The
bluffing.
lights just like,
What's wrong with your eyes?
because I was staring at the same card the whole time, and something about the lights must really.
Yeah.
No, Tom.
The lights, it's all the lights.
It's the lights. It's not Phil Ivey looking directly into your soul for 12 minutes, trying to like eat you alive. Also, by the way, Tom, if you're watching this, the biggest mistake you've ever made is not showing your cards right there and then. This was going to be on TV anyway. This would have been the biggest explosion of reaction we would have ever seen on high stakes poker, and he just mucks them.
You're a very interesting human. I'm glad to be in your orbit, you know? 'Cause I know we
you
don't
know
connect a lot, but it's nice to be around, like,
Like, I must have just been at a weird light angle.
We know he was bluffing because of how he harps on the lights. He just
Yeah.
can't let them go.
Exactly. A fantastic moment of high stakes poker. All 7,
Yes.
I should say 8 seasons available on PokerGO. This brings us, by the way, to the end of this episode of the high stakes poker footage that we had going on, which means that we get to go back in time machine time. We're going to go to the 1988 WSOP main event. We're gonna dive into it head first. Take your questions. I mean, just look at this footage. Come
Oh,
on.
goody.
This is fantastic. There go the chips. This is
Oh my God.
Cowboy Luke. There are the Binions chips that some of you might have played with if you've been at Binions when they still had a poker room. The horseshoe, of course, in all its glory, and just beautiful graphics. The 19th annual. What does this make you? How does this make you feel seeing this?
It's amazing. I mean, I wish I had seen it way back when. I visited all these places when I was with Eric and researching for the book, and he made sure that I saw it. He brought me to kind of the old Vegas, but it's not the same, obviously.
Right.
It's not the same. And playing in the World Series in recent years, though, it's very funny picturing it at Binions, because we overflow the Rio Convention Center and Binions fits probably into the Amazon room, maybe.
Oh, it fits into the actual Rio Casino, which isn't even the biggest casino. For people visiting Vegas this year, next year, whenever, if you're watching this and if you're a huge fan, go into Binions. And there's the Poker Hall of Fame plaques and the main event winners.
Yes.
And then take the escalator up the stairs. That's the room where the main event used to be played. I don't care what there is right now. That empty room, just walk around. Just soak up the energy.
Amazing.
When you watch the old footage, and we have it all available on PokerGO today, we added 17 years of main event footage dating back to the 70s, all on PokerGO available right now. A lot of that footage, you'll recognize a lot of things that when you walk into Binions that you'll see. So what I'm going to do right now is turn up the volume a little bit and get sort of a little bit of a taste of what the action was like here in '88.
Binions horseshoe.
Watch the red visor.
Exactly, the red visor. Does he still have it? Do you know?
He does not.
Oh.
He had, at some point, he and his wife realized that he'd thrown it out, and it's a lost opportunity that would have certainly been a great item to auction off for charity.
Exactly. There's Stu Unger. Really cool to see. I just lost audio on my end here. Let's see if I can fix this.
So did I. Yeah, I can't hear it.
Let's see. Okay, let me just restart.
Absolutely.
Let me restart the old VLC media player. Let's see if I can do it like this. I'm not sure if something will crash or not, but we'll find out real soon. Yeah, VLC crashed. Oh, bear with me. That's totally fine. Talk to us more about that first time coming to Vegas and Eric taking you around. Was it really like a trip down his memory lane or something?
Yeah, it was such a trip because I'd never really been to Vegas. I'd been there for a few weddings, and that's it. So I hated Vegas. My impression of Vegas was, it's just this absolutely terrible place. I think the last time I had visited, I stayed at Treasure Island, and that was Vegas for me. And I thought I never want to go again. I don't think that anymore, by the way, guys. I miss Vegas. I love Vegas. I realize that it's so much more than the Strip, and there's so much amazing stuff there. But this was my first time really being there, and I was going to be spending multiple months. And Eric picked me up at the airport to kind of show me around and show me the real Vegas, and it was definitely quite the trip down memory lane. We went to Binions, and we went to the Golden Nugget, and downtown, and all of the old casinos. And he said, this is the real Vegas. The Strip is not the real Vegas. The Strip is kind of the new Vegas, but this is where it all used to happen. And we did go to Binions, and it was this just wonderful thing, because hearing him talk about it, and we'll watch obviously the '88 main event, and he's not just humble about it. He just basically says, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just this kid, and I was completely outplayed because I was completely outclassed. And it's so funny to hear him say that. I don't think I haven't seen the other hands, so who knows how he played the other hands, but that final hand, he does have top pair. It is heads up. It's not like it's that crazy of a situation.
Right.
I could see a good player even today in a heads up match getting it all in with top pair.
Absolutely. And it's just funny how that became the moment, even though Brian Koppelman it could have also picked maybe the Helmuth moment versus Johnny Chan the following year, which was equally exciting. I restarted VLC. Let's see if I have audio now.
All right,
let's see if
let's
this
see it.
works now. You never really know, but okay. For some reason, it's not working. That's kind of odd, frustrating. Too bad. Let's see. Maybe it's just this file. Let's see. No, it's Gabe also. Gabe's also quiet. I don't know what's happening. Well, we got Doyle in the house. Maybe it's a VLC setting. Let's just look at VLC real quick. All right. Apologies for the...
Wow, Doyle is so young as well. Everyone is so young. I mean, Erik really is a kid. How old is Erik there? What, like 22, something like that? It's just insane.
Have you ever talked to him about how he ended up in the main event, like putting up $10,000 at that age in that era? Because it's totally insane when you think about it. That because $10,000 right now compared to then, it's probably 3-4x or something.
Oh, for sure, and it was definitely a big shot. But he had people who believed in him, and he'd been playing at the Mayfair, and there were people who were telling him that he should take a shot.
Wow.
And it all started in a little bookstore where he was in Vegas and picked up Slansky's book and read it and was like, okay, I think I know what I'm doing. And the rest is history.
Wow.
And the Mayfair was such an incredible place at that time. I wish I could have seen the Mayfair. It closed before my day.
Mm-hmm.
So I never had a chance to experience it myself. But think about the players that were there. It's kind of crazy.
It is.
You had...
No, go ahead. Keep going. I'm trying to still figure out this audio.
Say you just had all of these huge names. Everyone who was playing at the Mayfair at the time became huge on the poker scene. Like, it was a massive just meeting of talent, learning from each other. It's how the best players learn these days, but it happened organically.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we have some cool documentary footage on PokerGO as well that the Mayfair Club is also featured in. I believe it's an episode that we have specifically about the Mayfair Club. And it's just such a crazy thing to think that, if you found poker through the Moneymaker boom, then yes, you just saw it on TV. It's very, very simple and straightforward. If you found poker and you got into the game in the 80s, then all the things that had to happen for you to find the game and to get decent at it and to play on a respectable level, there's so many more variables that it's impossible to even fathom how that could have ever happened. So that makes it that much more impressive that some of these people ended up becoming the huge stars that they are to this day. And Erik, one of the best examples of that, still playing at the highest level, which can't be said for even someone like Johnny Chan, who we rarely see anymore.
That's absolutely true. I mean, that's actually ultimately why I chose Erik as my coach. And I'm so lucky that he said yes, because I didn't have a second choice. It's not like I was going down the list and trying to figure out, okay, if not Erik, then next. But I just tried to see who has longevity, who's shown that he has it for that long. And he's the only one who's been around since the 80s and winning at the highest levels since the 80s. There are other players who, were starting out, but they don't play at that level and they don't win at that level. And so he really was in a class of his own.
Absolutely. And there's a very big difference between winning in the 80s and 90s and winning now.
Oh, absolutely. And he's winning in the super high rollers. He's winning in the 250, 500K events that, are played by the best of the best of the best. He's the oldest in them by far, and he is highly competitive.
A question that I've asked on Twitter before. Meanwhile, I got the audio fixed, so we're going to get back to that. I'm switching applications, and it's all working out. So you guys, thanks for sticking with us here as we're figuring this out. A question I love to ask is, to what year would we have to travel back for you to be the best player in the world?
For me to be the best player in the
world?
I mean, I think we'd have to go back to the 1800s.
Wow.
I don't think I'm that good. I'm competent. I think I really try, and I'm constantly trying to improve, but there's so many people who are better than I am. And if you look at the best players, even, yeah, I use solvers. I bought PO. I didn't want to. I bought a special computer so that I could use PO. I learned how to use it. I was very lucky because, I was setting up PO and I was really frustrated and all of these things, didn't know what to do. And Eric's like, here, talk to Jason. And so, Jason Kuhn sits down with me and I was like, this is how you set up your PO solver. These are the bet sizes and this is what you do. And I was like,
No way.
okay, this is great. And I realized that nobody asked, well, Eric asked him to, but nobody forced Jason to do that. And it's insane, right? He's one of the best mathematically minded players in the game. And it's crazy that that's how I learned to use a solver, which is wonderful, but I still hate it. I don't enjoy doing that. And of course, these are tools that didn't exist back in the 70s, back in the day of the Amarillo Slims of the world. And do I think that I would have been a better player than some of those players back then? Maybe some of them, but I also, I don't have the balls that they had either. And that's the other component of it, and I know my limitations personality wise, and I probably wouldn't have been comfortable in that sort of environment in quite the same way. So I have no idea. I think I'd have to travel back to quite some time to be the best player, even if I got to travel back with PO Solver, right? If I got to take my laptop and my solvers back, I still think that people underestimate the old time players.
Wow. I think you're being too humble. I think that anyone who knows, anyone who has a solver installed on their computer is miles ahead of the knowledge base that people were working off back in the 80s especially, but I even think this goes into the 90s. Raw talent, you're drawing stone dead against all these guys that were successful back then. The Huck Seeds and the Seidels and even Howard Lederer and like those kinds of people, they had a lot of raw talent and knowledge. However, your studying over the last couple of years and your wealth of knowledge that you've built up over time, I don't think you can compare that to what these people were working with back in the day. All right. I hope that the audio is now finally working. And I feel like you and I should have like a nationally syndicated radio show because we basically filled all that time just effortlessly with conversation, which is great. Let's see if we can hear Mr. Marlowe talk. Hey, by the way, if it doesn't work right now, it's a Zoom issue and it's not a VLC or QuickTime issue because I got it working on the side.
Sounds good.
Casino here in downtown Las Vegas for the 19th annual World Series of Poker. Over 500 people have jammed into the poker area
mustache
to watch the finest poker players in the world battle it out. Hi again, everybody. I'm Chris Marlowe, and we welcome you to the most intriguing event of this year. 4 days ago, 167 of the best poker players in the world paid $10,000 apiece in order to compete in this event. And when it's all over, the winner is going to walk away with $700,000 in cash and a gold bracelet identifying him as the #1 poker player in the world. The action has been fast and furious. We are now down to our last 5 players. The winner will be the man with all the chips. The game begins with the end.
And a shout out to Humberto Brenes with the world's thickest mustache at this final table as well.
I mean, that's a star of the final table for sure. And Chip Reese and Stu Unger watching. I mean, this is amazing.
Yeah, the reason I muted it now is because they're explaining the rules of the game, how Texas Hold'em works. And then
the dealer looks like Jim Carrey.
That dealer also was probably came with the casino when they built it. Like he was already probably there. But yeah, they're explaining the flop, turn, and river and the way the betting goes. Which up until I want to say at least 06, that was definitely a thing. There's Mr. Seidel with the visor on.
With the string bet. What? Were you allowed to do that back then?
I don't think so.
Come on, Eric.
I don't think so.
Unforgettable characters show up for this annual gathering. TJ Cloutier, a former professional football player. Humberto Brenes, a Costa Rican businessman who's one of a growing number of foreign players to enter this tournament.
Smoking at the table.
Johnny Chan, the defending champ, whose nickname the Oriental Express accurately describes his relentlessly aggressive style of play. Ron Graham from Tacoma, Washington, who finds himself among the golden circle of money winners for the first time after many years of failed attempts. And Erik Seidel, a 28-year-old New Yorker, who is the youngest and least known player at the table.
There you go.
Let's get right to the action.
Look at
Erik
how young
Seidel
he is.
folds right away.
It's crazy, right?
Ron Graham
It
ponders
is.
and then also falls. Umberto Brenes goes all in, and Johnny Chan folds. It appears to be a bet of $50,000. Umberto Brenes has 6-9, obviously bluffing. TJ Cloutier calls with ace-queen. Pretty good hand.
I want those sunglasses, all of them.
Taking a big chance here.
I want to raise with 6-9 offsuit at the final
Ace-queen,
table of the main
6-9.
event.
Incredible.
And now, here comes the flop.
And go all in. How did they get all in? I want the
4,
pre-flop
6,
action.
and a 9, which gives Umberto 2 pairs. Does he have a sixth sense?
Amazing.
And now another 9 on 4th
That's
Street.
amazing.
Brenes now has a full house. 5th Street gives TJ queens, but too little, too late. TJ very aggressive, but now he really needs to make some aggressive moves if he is to survive.
For some
That is amazing.
For some context, up until sort of the end of the boom area, the commentators would always refer to TJ Cloutier as the best player to never win the main event. This could have been it. 6-9 offsuit by Humberto Brenes. For the people asking, is this truly live? Yes, we have cameras set up in 1988 at Binion's, and we're watching this live. Humberto Brenes cigarette. We've paused the cigarette for now. But Maria and I are live.
This is our proof of time travel.
Exactly. We are unraveling. Science is being redefined as we speak. For people who have questions, please send them in. We are live, by the way, on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. No hole card cameras. Exactly. That was not introduced until the early 2000s with the Poker Superstars event. Maria Konnikova also was involved in that. Shout out to Henry Ornstein, who was the inventor of the hole card camera. Let's keep watching. I think this is fantastic. Like
It's amazing.
No bet sizing, no size of the blinds. We're just all in with 6-9 offsuits so far.
Other players now know he is desperate.
What a hand.
Yeah.
With me now, perhaps the greatest card
Look at
player
this.
of all time, a 3-time winner of this event,
Johnny Moss.
Johnny Moss. And Johnny, this tournament
Wow.
certainly has grown from a long time ago.
Sure has. I've been playing it about 19 years. This is the first time I've ever been out of the money.
Who do you like in this one, and why?
I like Johnny Chan, but he don't look like he's got much chances. But anybody can still win it.
All right, Johnny Moss is our guest. One of the greatest of all time, a 3-time world champ. No one has ever done that.
It seems like an actor playing Johnny Moss. It really does seem like it's amazing.
The grand old man of poker who, as the story goes, was ruthless to dealers. He was apparently a huge dick, but also kind of cool to have this moment in time of him talking. I did not even know this was part of the broadcast. Pretty cool to see.
Okay, we're ready for the next deal.
People are joking on YouTube saying, has TJ always been old? Yes, TJ Cloutier has been 70 years old for 70 years.
Cards go out.
There's some people like that. They're the same age always.
I hope to
first
stay
position.
this level that I am right now. I'm
He
totally happy
folds.
with that.
All right.
As
Let's do
does
it.
Umberto. Johnny Chan drops also. TJ bets.
Oh, so many
Is he
cigarettes.
bluffing to steal the antes in the blinds? That's what Erik Seidel thinks. He's calling. And he raises $120,000.
Again, a string bet. Eric, come on.
The call and the raise. Call and raise. Let's just get it. Let's get it straight. All right, we got ace 10 suited. We got fives. It looks like the button is in front of Eric, if I'm seeing this correctly.
Yeah, it seems that way.
So we got a cutoff raise and a call from Eric playing for set value. Eric, if you're watching, I hope that we can run the numbers on this to make sure that the fives are played correctly there.
More. Now TJ has a tough call.
Oh, he re-raised. He 3-bet.
TJ has
raised,
an ace
yeah.
and a 10. Seidel a pair of fives. And TJ Cloutier is going all in. $140,000 more. For a total of $190,000.
I love that they're still calling it
There's more
dollars.
than $600,000 in the pot. The winner can take the lead. TJ turns an ace 10. Eric.
So Seidel makes the call. We're all in with fives against ace 10. Also, if you were 3-betting with pocket fives, you were a winning player back in those days. And
Oh, absolutely.
And TJ Cloutier printed money for decades. So this is something that these are two of the best players at the time going up against each other. These are your Jason Kuhn and Steven Chidwick of that era going head-to-head. For the people who are asking, do we have the Stu Unger footage? Yes, we do. 1981 and 1997 final tables now available on PokerGo. Go check it out.
The pair of fives. You can feel the tension building.
I'm nervous.
And building. The flop, 5, 8, 9, gives Eric's trips.
All right.
No help for TJ's
Look at that
ace.
smile.
A 3 on 4th Street. He needs a miracle. 5th Street. A
It
king
is
of spades.
that fist pump. Oh my God. I wish Eric were watching with us because it is so different from the persona he has at the table now, where it can be for hundreds of thousands of dollars, for millions, literally. And he's just stone-faced and completely in possession of everything. And here he's fist pumping with this big smile, and it's beautiful to see.
It's incredible. And Cloutier first losing against the 6-9, then losing against the 5s. 2 unlucky flips for him, and we're down to 4.
The 6-9, let's face it, was not a flip. That was just insane.
Yes, that's true. All right, we're going to commercial break. Obviously, we took those out. Actually, I would have loved to watch the 1988 commercials on TV. Oh,
That would have been fun.
That would have been fun. There's Eric Drake. Let's see what he has to say.
Of the World Series, and Eric, so far the action a little slow.
Yes, right now there's only one person, Erik Seidel, who appears to be gambling. Everybody else seems to be waiting for a hand. And at this particular structure where everyone's anteing $2,000 and there's a $5,000 and $10,000 blind, it'll cost the person about $120,000 an hour not to play a hand. So I think they're going to change their strategy very shortly.
This kind of play, who does that favor in the group?
Well, temporarily it favors Erik Seidel, he's a first-time starter. He has moved all in maybe 7 or 8 times in the last 15 hands, and he's won every one of those pots. So he's probably stolen. I say stolen because I don't know if he has a hand or not. He's probably stolen $200,000 so far.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
That's
well
amazing.
done, Eric. You're right. He's playing a different game.
Completely outclassing everyone. Like, this is just...
I love it.
It's like, it's like they only told him the rules of the game, and the rest of the people are just trying to figure it out as they go.
And I just want to mention a bit of historical context. This is his first major tournament.
That's so crazy.
It is not like this is a guy who's been playing for years. So let's just throw that out there.
That's so nuts.
Series by storm. Until that infamous Black Monday in October of 1987, when the stock market took a giant tumble, Eric traded options on the American Stock Exchange. As a result of the crash, he became one of a legion of financial district professionals who joined the ranks of the unemployed.
There he is.
Eric refocused his time and energies on games he plays best, backgammon and poker. His newfound free time and a growing realization that he played poker almost as well as he does backgammon motivated him to try bigger games.
I learned to play poker in Vegas. I went out there for a little backgammon tournament, and I started playing in the smallest game they had there. I think it was a 1-2 or a 1-3 game. And essentially, you could win or lose maybe $30 or $50 at most. I started playing, I guess, about 2.5 months ago again. And just at first very cautiously, because I just wanted to test the waters and see how I played. After a couple of months of playing, I felt very, very good. I felt like I was competitive.
Erik Seidel has done very well. One of 4.
How cool was that? Did you know that existed even?
I did not know that existed. It's amazing. I've been playing for 2.5 months, and I feel like I'm competitive.
Amazing.
I love it. I hope he watches this and sees the time machine jump to the Eric of the 80s, because wow, that footage.
That's incredible. I've watched this before, but I do not remember even seeing this. It's been so long. This is pretty incredible to go back in time, and hopefully Eric can join us to watch this again. Like, I mean, there's like so much to talk about in regards to this final table. His accent did sound a little bit different somehow. I don't know why.
I think so. I actually think that he's from New York. And he grew up in New York, and I do think that he's actually, and he spent some time as a child in Brooklyn, and I think we do see some of that New York accent, some of the Brooklyn even coming in that we do not see today. I was very surprised to hear how he pronounced some of those words. I'd love to hear what he has to say about that.
That's awesome.
Remaining players, he is guaranteed at least $77,000.
Great payout structure.
Not bad for 4 days' work.
Yes, I love it.
It's my pleasure to be joined by John Jenkins, but he's perhaps known better to the poker fans around the world
Austin
as
Squatty.
Austin Squatty.
Yes.
John,
I knew that.
have to ask you, how
Well
did you
done.
get that nickname?
Well, it's not that dramatic. I sit on my feet at the table like an Indian, and they gradually started calling me Squatty. It's a comfortable position to play poker in. It just doesn't look comfortable.
Now, as one of the world's great poker players, give us your assessment of this game. You played in this tournament, were knocked out relatively early. It's very difficult to get to the Final Four where we are right now.
Well, despite all the skill that you can have, you also have to have good fortune. The players that are here, however, have played with the peak of their skills. They are all at the peak of their prowess. Erik Seidel is a newcomer, but we expect to see him over and over again at the final tables.
Wow.
Perhaps we could move in just
Very sharp from Austin Squatty over there. Just seeing
So true.
seeing the talent in front of him.
a little closer, and you could do a little play-by-play for us on this upcoming hand. 4 players now.
Yes, we're getting closer to the time when the antes are going to go up, and that's going to force a lot of faster play. Right now, everybody's got enough chips to handle this $5,000 and $10,000 blind and ante structure. When it goes to $10,000 and $20,000, where every round you're putting in $100,000 just in antes, they're going to have to play faster. But we're still at the last of the level where there can be some maneuvering.
In your opinion, who would be the favorite right now? Obviously, Seidel has most of the chips, but the other 3 players are pretty solid.
Yes, I'd say the odds-on favorite would be the defending champion. I personally would place Ron Graham. I would think it would get down head-up between Chan and Graham, but we're at the point where luck's going to have a piece of it now. We've got to move in here. Now we'll see what we've got. We've got Umberto and Erik out. Oh, 2 aces and 2 deuces. So Erik is 4.5 to 1 favorite. They both have a diamond. Umberto could make 3 deuces to win, or a low straight, or a spade flush. It comes 2 diamonds and a king. He looks like
You see the smile starting?
I hope we see a fist pump again.
The aces are still good.
I hope so too. I
Must
really
have a
hope
deuce.
so.
He's 20 to 1 underdog at this point.
That's it for Brennan.
That's it for Umberto.
A tremendous hand.
Now you have a match
No
that
fist
is
pump.
No.
dead even, because young Erik has got a commanding lead in chips, and that'll offset the lack of experience. However, I haven't seen in the last hour many mistakes in experience.
Well, Seidel has come up repeatedly with the big hand, the big card, over and over.
Well, I wish him good luck. It's going to be quite a battle when they come back at the higher blinds.
So one thing I want to point out here as well is that Austin Squatty is doing a tremendous job explaining the game in real time, because you can tell they're just standing at the table and explaining the outs, being a 4 to 1 underdog, that he can make a low straight, that he can make all these things that, if you knew that stuff back in the day, you were probably ahead of the field, at least, having that kind of understanding of the game. So that's pretty cool to see. For the people who are wondering, yes, that is Humberto Brenes, the Shark, who later became, of course, very famous, playing in the main event, going deep in 03, going deep in 06, having a lot of big runs and winning a bunch of bracelets along the way as well. For the people who are just tuning in and wondering, what is going on? What am I watching? Well, it's myself and Maria Konnikova. You can follow us on Twitter, seeing our handles on your screen as well. Going through the 1988 WSP main event, in which Erik Seidel and Johnny Chan went heads up, moments that were forever etched in movie history by rounders, which of course is a moment that is still coming up. If you have questions for Maria, please send them into the chat. We are live on Twitch, Facebook, and on YouTube. And if the questions are good, I might even ask them. Don't forget, by the way, to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I do this show once a week on Thursday. Pick a new topic or subject every single time. In just a few weeks, I'm having Stephanie Unger, Stu Unger's daughter, on this show to watch her father's 1981 and 1997 main event wins. That'll be happening on May 6th. Very special episode as well to go back in time and watch that. For now, 88, that's the year that we're watching. Let's see what Mr. Marlowe has to say right now. We're three-handed, by the way.
Stay with us. We'll have more poker action from Binion's Horseshoe right after these messages.
Oh, we have commercial messages. Probably some IBM commercial or something. That's probably fitting for the time.
I want to know what the cereal commercials were at the time.
Oh.
I mean, were we seeing Lucky Charms? What were we seeing?
It definitely something with like the box moving into the screen like very close and then back again with some very, very stylish 80s music. People in the chat, let us know what your favorite cereal is. I would love to know.
167 players started
And your
out.
favorite
Now we're
cereal
down to
commercial.
3.
Yes, favorite cereal
Erik
commercial
Seidel,
also.
Johnny Chan and Ron Graham. Let's find out who's going to win.
All right, ready for more poker action as the cards go out.
We got the golf whisper going on. We're here on 17.
And we have 2 golf visors at the table. 2 of the 3 players have the visors on.
Beautiful. Oh, hold on. You guys noticing how Johnny Chan switched sunglasses on us?
Oh my God, he did. That's crazy.
He was wearing like some Louis Vuitton style stuff. And
yeah,
now
he was wearing like the really dark ones, and now we've got these. What's that about?
we got the Carreras or Armani, whatever this
is. Nice eye, Remko. Well done.
Who brings 2 pairs of okay, my next tournament, I'm bringing 3 pairs of sunglasses. Every break, I'm going to switch out and see if someone notices. This might be the secret.
All right.
Erik Seidel takes a close look at his hole cards and doesn't like what he sees. He folds. Ron Graham also being very cautious. He'd like to stick around for a while if he can.
I wonder how Ron Graham is doing right now.
Now, Johnny Chan has the option to raise if he wants. But
It's not a name you can Google. There are lots
There's
of
the
them.
flop. Chan has a pair of queens. Graham, a 4-card straight. Everybody checks. Now 4 street, a 7 of clubs.
Remember, you're looking at the hole cards of both players. Queen 3 for Chan, Jack 9
I was trying to
for
figure
Graham.
out. It took me a second
Graham
to figure
makes
out
small
what a
bet,
4-card
about
straight
$4,000
was.
is called by Chan. 5th Street, coming up.
When I
The
realized
6
it
of
was a draw.
spades.
Yeah.
Still no help to either player. Johnny Chan checks and Ron Graham checks. Johnny turns over a queen tray. Ron has Jack 9s. Queens win the pot for Johnny Chan.
I think the fact that this hand made the broadcast goes to show how little showdowns there were at this final table, and that Erik was basically going all in a lot because the blinds were so high.
So I have a question. I saw that Graham just flipped over the Jack 9. Did the rules change? Did you have to show your card if it went to showdown, or was it just for the broadcast?
That's a great question. That is really interesting.
Because I'm wondering why in the world he doesn't just muck. Why does he show
Yeah.
that he had a misdraw?
Interesting. Yeah, we don't know. If anyone is watching who was around back in those days, please let us know. I honestly don't know. It's really weird. He definitely would not have to show. There was, however, maybe it's still is. There was a rule that if you ask to see someone's cards, you can.
Yes.
So
that is still a rule.
Would Johnny Chan do that?
I don't think so.
We don't know. People who are saying that Johnny was wearing the same glasses, definitely not. Those are red sunglasses. The other ones were different. You guys skip back and watch the
They
start.
were dark. They had the.
They were a different shape too. They were wider.
And he'll happily accept all pots, small and large. And the applause of the crowd.
I love this.
The players are now jockeying for position. They're eager to eliminate the next player. Second place pays $280,000, double the third place prize. Johnny Chan folds.
There's Doyle in
and
the
Erik
back.
Checks.
Yeah.
And here comes Ron Graham. He goes all in. Now remember, you're looking at the hole cards of the 2 players. Graham 10-4. Bluffing. Erik Seidel ace-jack, a good hand. Seidel calls, aggressive as ever.
Aggressive call.
Now, Graham.
Aggressive
and
call with
Seidel.
ace-jack against 10-4.
Graham looks a little worried.
What a good look
And
by
he should
Graham.
be with a 10-4. And now the flop. Ace, deuce, 3. Erik Seidel has a pair of aces. Ron Graham has a 4-card straight. He needs a 5. An 8 on 4th Street does not help him. And now he needs a 5, and he does not get it. Erik Seidel has won the hand. And Ron Graham is out. Much
And
to
Johnny
the
Chan
delight
is
of Mr.
happy. Oh, there's Rua, Eric's wife. I love it.
That is awesome to see.
Seidel. A good battle put up by Ron Graham, but he just could not draw the 5. Oddsmakers thought he would finish no less than 2nd place in this group. But still,
wow.
3rd place worth $140,000.
Poker history is in the making. We'll have more from Binion's Horseshoe right after these messages.
Come on, give us the cereal commercials already. What is up with this broadcast? I'm going to have to see if we can get some 80s commercials edited into this broadcast to make it feel even more real. Heads up between Johnny Chan and Erik Seidel. We're just going to keep watching. This is fantastic.
Hello, back at the World Series of Poker. Now we are down to the final 2. At stake, $700,000 first prize. Let's see what's happening.
Here's one for the history books. An unknown youngster has made it all the way to a heads-up match with the defending champion. A look at the hole cards. Erik Seidel, a pair of 9s. Johnny Chan, a pair of 8s. Interesting hand. Johnny Chan moves in and bets about $90,000.
I love that they say moves in
Seidel?
and it's not actually moving
I
in.
know.
It's just a bet.
Erik Seidel will call and raise.
Call and raise.
No, he's going all in on a pair of 9s.
Wow, this could have been
Perhaps
it.
he thinks Chan is bluffing or vice versa. They both have very low pairs to be going all in, and Johnny says, let's get it on. So Chan and Seidel both all in.
So
at stake, $1,200,000.
quote unquote should have won.
The biggest pot in World Series history.
This is crazy.
Did you know this hand was
And now
happening?
the
I
flop.
had no idea.
Seidel with 9s, Chan with 8s.
Talk about bad beats. This
Here we
is
go.
why Eric never lets me talk about bad beats.
Wow.
A 5, a 6, and a jack. 2 spades. Johnny Chan has 3 spades, but no help pairwise. 4th Street. A king of hearts.
Wow.
Still no help.
Wow.
For
This is how close he came to winning.
$1,200,000. A nervous Mrs. Seidel. The biggest pot in World Series history is riding on 5th Street.
Oh, so Eric
And a
doubles
4
up.
clubs, and Seidel has done it.
Wow.
What a pot.
Wow.
Officially, one.
Clearly, chip count reporting not as accurate in 1988. We were convinced that Eric had the better of it because going into heads up, when you watch the hand where he eliminated Graham, he definitely has the chip lead. So we missed a portion of this heads up battle. Now Eric doubles up.
We clearly did.
So now he must have now he has the chip lead. So that's going to be interesting to see. A lot of people just tuning in. Yes, we are watching the 88 WSP main event. We are heads up between Erik Seidel and Johnny Chan. Please no spoilers in the chat, guys. Come on, let's keep it fair here. Let's keep watching.
$1,204,000.
Wow. Yeah, I thought he had the chip lead. I thought
Yeah.
this was about to be a bad beat.
That's what I thought. I was waiting for the 8 on the river.
Exactly.
And Johnny Chan can't quite believe it. It took the wind out of his sails. It's a hand young Erik Seidel will long remember.
You have to stay on your toes because at any time, if you make one mistake, you're out of the tournament. If you push all your chips in at the wrong time, that's it. You're done. And in fact, that happens a lot. I think what happens is towards the last few days, there are a lot of people who really become affected by the pressure, and they want out. They'll put all their chips in a spot where they would never do that ordinarily in a normal game. But the pressure becomes very intense, I think.
With me now is Johnny Chan.
Sorry,
love
but
it.
the Brooklyn accent is just fantastic. I have to call that out. Let's see what Johnny has to say about this.
And the defending champion in this event, and Johnny, last year's win What kind of pressure does that put on you this year?
There's no pressure. It's just a game. I play like this just in every tournament. I'm a little behind right now, so a couple more hands, we're going to even it up. So I just got to play the waiting game right now.
Are you surprised at the play of Erik Seidel? He's been very aggressive.
Absolutely. He plays good and real aggressive, and I just had to back off for now anyway. Maybe when I get hold of some chips, I'll be the aggressive one in the game.
Oh my God,
The
this is
Railbirds
amazing.
love this matchup. The young New Yorker against the Oriental Express. Chan is
I,
staying.
I'm sorry. Every time they say Oriental Express, I just cringe. I can't believe that was.
Even back in like 07, 08, he was still referred to as the Oriental Express. Still
Crazy. It's terrible.
I mean, you should. I've seen a lot of these old broadcasts. The way they talk about women as well, it has changed a lot.
Oh,
and
I'm
it's
sure. I'm sure.
pretty crazy when you look back on these things, and even things as crazy as having like ringside models like walking around and like as I don't know, the world is changing at a rapid pace in a lot of ways for the better.
Yes.
Let's see what Johnny pulls out of his sleeve here to make a comeback.
Yeah, let's see.
He's got to win a few small pots to get back into the.
Look at Stu Unger sitting right behind him watching the
Oh
final
yeah.
table. That is really interesting.
Good eye. Good eye.
They're both
I love that
very
he's
cautious.
wearing a jacket. That
Remember, Erik
we've
has
got
no
people here with
experience at
jackets.
this level of play. Seidel calls the blind, and Chan chooses not to raise. Here comes the flop. Trips. 3 6s. Chan's hand on the left. Ace 8. Seidel. King 10.
It's a
Chan
different
checks.
game. King 10 limps.
Seidel
Ace
bets.
8 suited doesn't raise.
Nope.
Heads up.
Remember, the flop is 3 6s. Chan calls.
Well, there's floating.
4 street.
Yep.
A 7 of spades. Johnny Chan has 4 spades. Good chance at a flush. Both players taking their time. They both check. Now 5th street. A 4 of diamonds. Johnny Chan checks. Very conservative now. He's low on money. And they turn it over. Johnny has an ace high with 3 6s against Erik Seidel's King 10. So Johnny wins the pot, and he's slowly chipping away at Eric's pile of chips.
Erik also showed his cards, so
Yeah, exactly. So maybe they had to show back then.
maybe it was because they were filming.
Yeah.
Could be. I know Erik hated that. I don't know.
He does. Oh, he still does.
He still does. Okay.
One of the first things he told me was never ever show unless you absolutely have to.
Right. No, I totally understand. It's very fair.
Count out the defending champ just yet.
With me, the 1978 winner of the World Series of Poker, and now currently the president of the Golden Nugget Hotel, Bobby Baldwin. And Bobby, it's really gone back and forth here, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. It's very close here in the end game. The money seems to be relatively balanced between Johnny and Erik.
Looked like Johnny Chan was almost out of it, down to a couple $100,000. He caught a 7 on 4th Street, and he's come back into it.
Well, that's the important thing with the game of Hold'em. You know, you're never down and out until your chips are all gone, and Johnny got down to 200,000, but he's playing very, very good, and he's now balanced the playing field somewhat with about 700,000 or 800,000.
It's so funny. Like we totally did not see the hand where he spiked a 7 on the turn. It was not.
No, we have no idea. We don't know what happened, and they don't know what the chip counts are.
Nope.
He said they look about even. No one has any idea.
It's amazing.
The former world champion, what about the strategy now that you're down to the final 2?
Well, I think controlled aggression is very, very important when you're in a short-handed game, if you can have such a thing. But the most aggressive player in a two-handed game is probably the favored player at this point.
Queen 8-10 is the flop.
Oh.
Johnny Chan bets 40,000. Will Erik Seidel be aggressive again? You bet. He calls the 40, and he raises 50.
The call raise, the old call
So
raise.
it's $50,000 to Chan to stay in this hand. The flop, Queen 8-10, once again. Johnny Chan will take his time. figuring out the odds for all possible combinations. Remember, 2 more cards to come, 4th Street and 5th Street. And Chan
He's
will
not
put in
figuring
the
out the odds,
50,000.
guys.
No.
He's saying, I got the nuts. How
Yep.
do I get his money?
So the pot is right. And now, as 4th Street comes up a 2 of spades, let's reveal the hole cards of both players. Johnny Chan, Jack 9, and Erik Seidel, Queen 7. Johnny Chan had a straight on the flop. Erik Seidel with a pair of queens. Erik Seidel
seen this
cannot
one.
hold his hand.
I get chills and I just hear Matt Damon in my head. That's
Yeah, well, the second I saw the flop, I was like, oh no, I
Yeah.
know what hand we're in.
Exactly.
This is not good.
Oh.
It's not going to
And
end
yet
well.
he doesn't know it.
He doesn't know it.
Chan is trying to sucker him in by taking his time. Oh, look at that look of the defending champ. And now 5th Street, a 6 of diamonds, no help. Johnny Chan has a queen high straight. Will Erik Seidel fall for the bait? Yes, he's going all in, and Chan has him. Johnny Chan, the master, turns over his card, and once again, Johnny Chan has done it. And for Erik Seidel, he can only look and wonder what might have been.
Hey, well played, Eric. Good run.
Well played. Johnny Chan, the master. Forever.
We'll be back to talk with the champ and the runner-up.
Oh,
Erik Seidel, the kid doesn't know what hit him.
Wild scene back here at Binion's. Everybody wants to congratulate Johnny Chan. Johnny.
Johnny Chan, congratulations. You were down to $200,000. What turned it around in your opinion?
He was playing a little fast and just keep trying to bluff his money off. So unfortunately, I just sit back and wait for a trap for him. And sure enough, he just bluffed all his money off to me.
Did you lay a trap for him?
Absolutely. That was my whole game plan anyway.
What about the feeling of winning this year as opposed to last year?
A lot better.
All right, congratulations, Johnny.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Johnny Chan retains his title.
And he's now in line to match Johnny Moss's record of 3 consecutive World Series wins. Let's talk to the runner-up.
Erik Seidel, he almost had Johnny knocked out, but he caught that 7 on 4th Street to make that straight. That turned it around for him.
Yeah, I was about an 11 to 10 favorite to win the tournament right there. And he hit the straight, and then from there, I think just my inexperience showed up because he is the best player in the world, and he outplayed me.
Erik Seidel, no disgrace, he loses to Johnny Chan, but a terrific tournament.
So Johnny Chan,
What a gracious
after losing
exit
the
interview,
in World Series history.
Very good exit interview. That was really cool to see. Wow, what an amazing event. We got Jack Binion there, handing over the cash, of course, all cash back in those days. What else would you want? Back in 1988. Wow, but by the way, $770,000 back in 1988. All right, here's my little special added bonus. I will not take. We can watch this whole final table because we simply don't have enough time. However, PokerGO has done a lot of work in this pandemic year where we didn't have live poker in digging out the archives and making sure that we have every single thing that was ever filmed and put out for TV on PokerGO. Thousands of hours that we went through. Among those, a final table with Erik Seidel. This final table is from the 2005 World Series of Poker, which you probably have also never seen before.
Cindy
Violette is at the final table, and there's Antoine Saoud, that's Fabrice Soulier, and Mr. Erik Seidel wearing the full tilt hockey jersey, which of course was a staple of fashion back during the height of the poker boom. This is a 2K No Limit Hold'em event, I believe, and we're just gonna watch it for all the time that we have left.
Oh my God.
I'll let it run in the background.
This is amazing.
I can skip ahead a little bit just to make sure we get the end of the tournament. Let's see. This is probably a good point. Let's listen in and see what's happening right here.
Well, Cindy said it was her pot at the beginning of the hand, and she took it down. Those lucky rocks are working like charms. The World Series of Poker has become quite the family affair. We've already seen the Sextons, but fathers and sons are everywhere. There's Doyle Brunson and his son Todd. Barry Greenstein and his son Joe Seabach. Siblings are here too. Howard Lederer and his sister Annie Duke are back again, as well as the Boyd brothers, Bobby and Dutch. Jerry Thomas and her husband Harry have both won World Series of Poker bracelets. Marco Traniello is new to the poker scene, but he's got some quality help at home, being married to Jennifer Harmon. And so far, he's doing better than his wife at this year's World Series, having cashed 3 times already. On the Toyota Player of the Year leaderboard, Alan Cunningham tops the list, but with her success in the circuit events, Jennifer Harmon is in the top 10. Back to our final table here. As we mentioned, Paul, of course, at this final table, his dad Keith made a final table. Can you combine family points to get on the leaderboard?
When you're playing Monopoly, you can do that and gang up on others, but not in poker.
Okay, too bad. The dwindling chip stack of the man who was the chip leader at the beginning of the day. He's lost about half of it now, a lot of it to Cindy Violette. Morgan Machina checking his hole. He's always got an ace or a king at least.
Didn't I tell you, stay away? You could send Perry to a therapist, but I don't think it would be fair to the therapist.
Machina, who has ace-king, is going to raise it to $75,000.
Well, you know
Paul
what
Sexton
hasn't
says,
changed at
no
all
thanks,
since
not
05 is the way the Rio looks.
Oh, exactly. And the way it smells and the way it sounds. It is definitely a unique place. And I miss nothing more than the sound of crickets as you walk into the Amazon room every year when it's a full room and the action is going, especially during the main event, which is just amazing to watch. Anyway, let's just go back a little bit to recap what we just saw at the 88 event. What was it like to see this for the first time?
It was amazing. I mean, just seeing the young Erik in his first major event and just how far he's come since then. He played well. I mean, he said, I've just been outplayed, but he was playing a different game. He was already ahead of what everyone was doing. And it was kind of wonderful to see that his thinking was so evolved. But I loved seeing the expressions of emotion that you don't see these days at all. The fist bumps, the smiles. He was feeling it, and that just warmed my heart.
And I love that out of all the players at the final table, he was the featured player that they went to his house to film, and they did interview segments with him, which is just so cool to have. I mean, you need to ask him or text him or whatever, and ask him when has he last seen this footage, because
I will ask him.
It was so hard to find all this footage that I wonder if he even has a copy of it, because
he might not have seen it, and I wouldn't be at all surprised, and I hope he enjoys watching it. I love his exit interview. That hasn't changed. He's humble. He says he was outplayed. There's no excuse. Oh, I got unlucky. He just says, yeah, Johnny outplayed me. I was outmatched. And it's rare.
It is hard to be that humble, especially, he was 28 back then.
28.
And playing for the very first time. It's pretty crazy to see that. I'm just going to skip through some of this. No disrespect to the celery that Cindy Violet is cooking up there. But we only have limited time, and I do want to see the end of this video here. A lot of cool Oh, here it is. Chip counts. All right, so we're 5-handed. We have Perry Friedman. We have Seidel. We'll skip a little bit ahead. Now we're 3-handed. Good. This goes fast. For the people that are frustrated, like, I want to see this whole final table. Well, it's available on PokerGO. 05 Bracelet events. Go find it. It's a 2K event. It should not be hard to find, and definitely worth your time to check out all these different side events. Maria, while we're watching this footage, what's your plan for when the pandemic sort of goes away to a point where you can actually, safely play poker again? Or do you have ambition to grind a full slate of tournaments? Are you, are you moving to Vegas at any point? Like, what are you thinking?
We'll see. I mean, I don't think I'm moving to Vegas at any point, at least not full time. But yeah, I'm definitely planning to play. I hope that the World Series does happen this year. I know it's still tentative and we have no idea what the pandemic will be doing at that time. But if it's safe, I'll be there. And I am planning to keep playing. I don't think I'll be playing as intensely as I played, right before the pandemic hit, in the sense that, I was traveling 8 months out of the year. It's a lot. And that was a little bit unsustainable. So I don't see myself flying to every single event. You know, I would be in Macau and I played everything. So I think it'll be a little bit less intense than that, but I do see myself playing, and I'm excited to go back and to study and to really kind of really see if I still have it and if I'm still able to get competitive at a higher level.
Wow, that's awesome. So would you say that you are still a professional poker player, or do you have something else going on in your life that's bigger than poker right now?
Yeah, no, I mean, right now, no. Right now, my income is coming from writing, not from poker. So I think that, I see that Eric has aces against queens. Let's,
let's
he
see.
just ran into a better hand.
Let's see this hand.
8-9-7.
No help for Perry.
All right,
he
that's
told
great.
us if he had to lose to any one player in the world, he preferred to be Erik. That's a type of respect he has for Seidel.
Queen of diamonds.
Perry's still calling for cards. And that's a 5. Some more outs now.
Yeah, Perry gets a little help there. He still needs a queen to win. Or if a 6 hits that board, they'll both have a 9 high straight,
We still
and
have
they'll chop
Rua
the
on the
pot,
rail. I love
and Perry
it.
will be able to sit down again.
He would love a chop pot at this point. As we go one more card to the river, perhaps the end of the line for Perry Friedman. It's paid on the river, but it's a king. And Erik Seidel's pocket aces knock out Perry Friedman.
Nice.
I think you can do it all.
Yeah. Third place, $196,000 for Perry.
If you're around
He
this
got
guy
more
a lot
for third
long,
in
you
this
really want
side
to be around
event
him
than
some
third
more.
place played for the main event back in '88.
I know, and this is only a 2K buy-in also.
Yeah,
Which is
that's
crazy.
That's crazy.
After the dismissal of Friedman.
My hand says, why couldn't you?
But yeah, no, I mean, I think of myself as a poker player, but writer. That never changed, though. You know, the two are compatible. There's no reason why you can't play both.
Right, definitely. Yeah, I guess that's the beauty of poker as well, is that you can just show up and then just play. And
Absolutely. I mean, you know what? The level that I got to, I don't feel like I can just show up, because that feels like throwing money away, because I know how much people study and prepare, because that's what I did. So unless I can play at that level, I will not be playing the same buy-ins that I played before.
Right.
But I hope that I can.
All right.
I'll do my best.
I hope to see you in the main event and other events during the WSOP. Let's enjoy some more of this footage right here.
Let's do it.
As it comes up. Hopefully we'll see some mistakes made, and hopefully they won't be coming from me.
Two great stories here. It
That's
took
so
Cindy
great.
a long time to win her
Eric
first
is great
bracelet.
with
Now
the
she
pithy
has a chance to win in
one-liners.
back-to-back
Oh yeah, for
years.
sure. And his thoughts on music and his love for hip hop is
absolutely
so surprising.
He has encyclopedic knowledge. It's amazing, and he's so funny.
God.
Those one-liners are amazing. Anyway, I'm glad we get to see a little bit of that.
Yeah, and I wish he'd be on more podcasts, but I'd love to listen to him more, because
I agree.
He clearly has a lot of cool stories to tell, and you know, I don't have a book to write, so it's going to be pretty tough to, you know, get all the stories out of him. There should be Maria, can you just write a book about his life? At least tell him, like, I won't release it until you're 80 years old or something.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe not a book, but maybe we can get him talking about his life.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, what a flop for Erik.
Wow.
How he's going to reel in the fish.
And Cindy bets out 150,000.
Interesting bet for Cindy. If she's determined that her opponent is not holding an ace, then her deuces might be good right now, and she's on a straight draw as well. So she might have the best hand.
Erik had the same face holding aces when he knocked out Perry Friedman.
375.
375,000 chips is the bet.
So Cindy's got to try to
Hey,
piece
he
this
stopped
thing together.
spring betting. He now has it in one
She's
fluid
probably
motion.
hoping to get rid of Erik right there. But she didn't bet so
And he's in the
large
Johnny Chan
that she
position.
wouldn't be able to get
He
away
is.
from
Got
this
this
hand
flop
if she decides
straight.
she's beat.
Yeah, and the commentator didn't say a call and a raise.
He did not.
A good decision. She's a solid player. She made a solid read there.
And Eric made a bet there that maybe could have enticed Cindy to go all in and won the tournament right there. But again, a great laydown by Cindy Violette behind in the hand. She's going to need better cards than deuces, I think, to beat Erik Seidel as we continue heads up.
Now you got to remember about Cindy, and this is why you got to respect her a lot. She's a stud specialist. She made her name in the game playing stud. Playing Hold'em is a different poker muscle, and she has worked herself into being a top-notch Hold'em player.
Right now, Shannon looks on at her mother, trailing a little bit more than 2-1. $612,000 going to our bracelet winner today, Erik Seidel. Checks the whole cards, pocket eights. He's had a lot of nice pocket pair today.
Actually, he's had pretty smooth waters to navigate most of the day. Heck, I probably could win with his cards.
Where did his jersey go? He's
Yeah.
not wearing the hockey jersey.
Chips from
It's a shame.
Erik Seidel. She's got 1-9. Second card, 4 across. Oh, pocket 9.
Wow, this is exactly
Oh
reversed.
wow, this is
700,000 chips.
this is
That's
the
all she's got.
reverse
She's
of
going all in with
the
those nines.
All
Johnny
with a
Chan.
smile.
You can see that smile before she went all in. If you were thinking about
Cindy
toes,
Violette
oh.
risking everything.
And now the
Wow.
tongue's sticking out. This is if I were her
Well,
body
it's
language.
Eric's
I'm
head
sorry,
right now, as
not
I've
big on
mentioned, she's
tells,
pretty
but I would
conservative.
be folding
Right.
very quickly.
Eights also.
Gamble with me, like look at that. Look at how comfortable
Look,
she
she's
is.
so happy right now.
There's a 50% chance she has a pair higher than his. It's like a coin flip for him.
A man of few words, but when he speaks, everybody listens. He calls. Cindy Violette now in good position to double up.
And if she doubles up, Lon, Violette will take a 2-1 chip lead over Erik Seidel in this heads up.
So 2 bracelet winners going toe-to-toe in what's been a very entertaining final table, right down to the final 2. And now our flop.
I don't know who wins. I don't know how this one ends.
Oh, there's an 8. Oh, king of the flops. Seidel flops a full house. Oh.
Come on, 9.
And that is a killer for Cindy. You heard her say, come on, 9, and now only a 9 will save her.
No,
She's
don't
going to
come
need
on.
to see a 9 or Erik Seidel's going to be wearing another bracelet.
So with a turn card to come, Cindy Violette needs some help, and she needs it right away, or she's looking at finishing in second place. Turn card, and ace of diamonds does nothing to help her.
And Cindy down to her last card. She will need a 9 and a 9 only on the river, or Erik Seidel is our champion.
I'm getting over here on this side. I want to see. I want to see it when it comes out.
He wants to get the first peek of the card.
9 of clubs.
All right, so our river, perhaps the last of this $2,000 no-limit hold'em event. It's a 5. Violet gets a full house, but it's second best. Erik Seidel has just won his 7th World Series of Poker bracelet.
The all-time leaders, Doyle Brunson, Johnny Chan, and Phil Hellmuth have 9 bracelets. Erik now just 2 behind him.
Eric's wife, Rua, comes down out of the stands to congratulate her husband. Seidel played nearly flawless poker, working his way through this very challenging final table.
Oh, that's unbelievable. Good job.
And how about Cindy Violette, short stacked at 1 point, fired back to finish second.
Thank you, thank you.
Tonight's final table features.
All right, there we have it. Erik Seidel winning his
All
7th
right.
bracelet. There was one more to follow to date. I believe he has 8 right now. Amazing victory from Seidel, and let me just find a good way to pause it right here. Maria, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed going down memory lane like this.
So much fun.
Definitely remarkable footage to watch, and I can't wait to dive more into the archives, and I would highly recommend you and everyone else watching to also step into our offering of World Series Poker classic footage that we have available right now. Start with 81 and 97. Watch Stu Unger win the main event. That stuff is incredible. Maria, once again, thank you so much for watching. You say you're still writing a lot. Is there anything we have to look forward to? Is there anything specific that you have out now that the people should read?
So there's nothing I have out yet other than The Biggest Bluff, but I just finished working on an Audible original. So it's like a short book. So that will be out this year. So you guys can look forward to listening to that.
Nice.
You can't read it, but you can listen to it. And then I'm also working on a few projects for the screen, so I can't say much about that. But hopefully you guys will be able to watch some of the things that I've
Wow.
been working on in the near future too.
That's amazing. Everyone who is watching, please check out The Biggest Bluff on Audible or wherever you buy your books. I'm more of a listener. Maybe you're much more of a reader. You can find them in all the different places. And if you do end up reading it, please let Maria know on Twitter. Let myself know how you like the show as well. You can see our Twitter handles on the screen. I'll be back next week on Thursday doing another Run It Back show. We'll have an exciting guest. We'll watch some exciting poker action. If you guys have suggestions for who I should have on the show, please feel free to let me know. Other than that, there's nothing more to say then. Thank you once more, Maria, for being on the show. Thank you guys all so much for watching. This was Run It Back, and I'll catch you guys next week.